Welcome everyone to today's event, Online Counselling in the Prevention and Treatment of Problem Gambling, our interview with Susanne Irving. Susanne, welcome to our event today.
Thank you very much, Sean, and hello everybody in the chat room.
Yes, a warm welcome to everyone who is joining us online also. And although Susanne and I can see and hear each other, we can't obviously see and hear everyone who's online with us, but we can see the chat room. So please feel free to pop your comments and questions in the chat room. And yeah, we're really hoping to have an interactive event today. I know, Susanne, you're looking forward to hearing any questions that anyone's got about your work.
Yes, sure. And people are also welcome to, after the event, to email me directly if something crops up afterwards, a question they haven't thought about yet.
That's a really lovely offer, Susanne. Thank you. And well, Saz is in the chat room, and so she can pop your email in the chat room, so that if anybody wants to pick that up, they can and make contact with you. And of course, if anyone is struggling to get logged into the chat room or with the video in any way, just pop an email to Saz, and she'll help you out over there. So, to get our interview started, Susanne, maybe I could ask you just a little bit about GamCare. Maybe because we're all online, it's all virtual today, could you tell us where GamCare is actually based geographically?
Okay, the head office is in Clapham Junction in London, and then we have got partners across the country who have also been trained to deal with those affected by problem gambling.
So you actually have a geographical place, a base where people can go and see you and meet with you.
That's right. Although I only work as an online counsellor, so all people see usually of me is via the chat rooms, because we don't usually work via Skype. So it is all via instant chat and sometimes via email.
Yes, you were saying that tonight feels a little bit different for you, connecting this way, using the video, so we're just kind of getting used to this experience together.
Yes, as I said to you before, it is like looking in a mirror while talking to somebody, which you would normally not do, so I shall try to ignore my own face and focus on you and any questions.
Okay, thank you. Yes, it's one of the anomalies of Skype, I guess, watching yourself in the conversation. Yeah. But before we hear more about your work, could you give us a sense of your own history as a counsellor, Susanne? Maybe just give us an idea of how you arrived in your work professionally.
Okay, I used to be a market researcher for 13 years, but I'd always had an interest in people and what makes them tick. And in my 30s, I then trained with metanoia and did a BA in person-centered counselling. And while I was studying, I saw an ad for GamCare looking for people to help on their helpline for the job. And once I got in there, I thought actually I would really like to work as a counsellor with people who have been affected by gambling. So I started working as a face-to-face counsellor. And then about 4 years ago, there was an option of trialing to do online counselling. And I was really interested in this because I've been running a creative writing group for many years. And I had noticed how sometimes people had breakthroughs through the act of writing. So it wasn't a therapeutic group in any shape or form, but I could see what a difference it sometimes can make to do something in writing. So when then the offer came up, do you want to try to do online counselling? I was very keen to experiment with this.
That makes sense. Yeah, being in the writing group and seeing the impact on people of using that kind of medium, it's no wonder that online counselling really appealed to you. Yeah. And Susanne, just to get an idea of your experience, can you give us a sense of just how much online counselling you and your colleague have offered since the project begun? Do you have an idea about that?
We've done well over 1,000 chat sessions so far. And we have just started to offer email counselling as well. There we are still in the lower digits. But yes, like well over 1,000 sessions with either gamblers or other people affected by problem gambling. It's mainly partners, but also mothers.
I mean, wow, that's over 1,000 internet chat sessions is an incredible amount of experience in that field, I guess, of working with problem gambling and using the medium. You know, in some ways it's still quite a new and unused medium, but you and your colleague have a lot of experience here, I guess.
What has been quite interesting for us that we at first tried to replicate face-to-face counseling. So had offered people what we are doing now, chatting via video. But we found that the people who come through to online counseling, that's the last thing they want. They like the idea of being hidden. So that's why actually our primary medium has been instant chat rather than what we are doing here, like a video chat.
So originally you thought maybe video might appeal to people. I guess you were thinking that maybe online counselling was about the convenience, but what people wanted was some kind of anonymity. Is that right?
Yes, because we don't have partners yet all over the UK. So we thought at first it will appeal to those people who are in geographical locations where there is no partner yet that's easily this issue. We also thought maybe moms with young kids or people who have some health issues might like to try online counseling. And that's all true. So we do have people come through because there's no one closer. But many people actually choose to come for online counseling, even if there's a face-to-face counselor next door. Shame is a huge issue in the gambling field. So I've had people come and say, I went to my GP and told him about depression and alcohol problems and drug problems, but I would never mention the gambling.
Yeah, so shame to the point where someone would say a lot of other intimate details about their life to their GP, but they wouldn't mention gambling. Wow.
I always call it kind of the hidden addiction, because somebody can still be very highly functioning and physically you can't tell that they have a problem. So for example, we have a lot of sessions in the evenings, and they are very popular because many people still hold down a full-time job, so can only see a counsellor when they finish work, and nobody knows what's really going on.
So like with alcohol or some of the drugs, you could see physically perhaps that there was an impact, but not with gambling, I guess.
No, in many cases, there isn't the obvious physical impact. And especially as people, it's often not on the radar screen that somebody could have a gambling problem. If you think of GPs even, when they ask questions, they're more likely to ask about alcohol or drugs than about gambling.
Yes. Yeah, that might not be on their agenda, I guess, to ask. Yeah, not on the radar. So there's something about when you're offering online counselling to this client group, that there's something helpful about them not being able to see you not being able to see them, in terms of the shame that they feel around their addiction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this shame is especially there often for the women, because they feel, I'm a bad mother. I've got a gambling problem. I shouldn't have this problem. And if you ask people on the street, they will probably still think, oh, gambling problem, that's a man's problem rather than a woman's problem. And what we have also found is that many of the women have turned to gambling because of other serious issues like sexual abuse or physical abuse. So they're facing the double shame, the gambling and then the history that has led to the gambling.
Yeah, so that's particularly hard for someone to have both of those challenges, yeah, and to work with that with a counsellor. Hard work.
But what we are always hoping to do is